Hello, everyone. We are going to be talking about Penstemon and Plantago today. These two look nothing alike, as you're about to see, but it turns out that they're in the same family, and that's why we have to talk about them together. Their common names are respectively beardtongue and plantain, Plantago, plantain. It's not the plantain that you might be thinking, the small banana thing. No, just happens to have the same common name. We're going to start off by talking about Penstemon, beardtongue, which this is a picture of. And like I said, the family for both of these is Plantaginaceae. This is known as the plantain family, usually. Here's our first look at another picture of Penstemon. Something that you can sort of see in this picture is that down here we've got opposite leaves. We've got these two leaves coming from the node. You can actually kind of see that at this node as well. Not really any other node, though, in this picture. So, like the past two videos you've watched, Mimulus and Lamiaceae, again, we have those opposite leaves. Interesting. All right. So, I guess I should have had the common name on this. Whoops. On this. Just to make sure that you didn't confuse those two from the front page. All right. So, the habit of Penstemon is usually kind of shrubby, definitely perennial, maybe kind of smaller, but usually we're not going to see it any bigger than, say, like a meter or so high, and sometimes it is really densely shrubby like this. Other times it's more sparsed out, as you're going to see in some pictures. We can already tell we've got a variety of colors. Here's even more. This one is so cool. It goes through a drastic color change in each individual flower's life cycle. Notice these ones right here, this yellow one, and there's a yellow one right here, a couple kind of yellowish one right there. Those are flower buds. They're yellow when they're flower buds, and by the time they open, like this one, they become purple. They go from one side of the color spectrum to the other. It's a pretty impressive color change for just a single flower. Cool. Now, in this picture, we can get the look of sort of the upper lip and the lower lip of this corolla. And you can also tell behind that we definitely have a corolla tube, or in other words, fused petals here. Yeah, we have bilabiate corollas. Oh, also, just like monkey flowers and mints. Interesting. Maybe they're closely related or something. Here's just another look. This one's really cool too. Kind of turns that bluish color. Penstemon can be found at really high elevations. These can be really spectacular flowers to see up at high alpine sites. Again, a really huge variety of color. This picture I took in the desert, down near Las Vegas actually, and we got white Penstemon. I was shocked to see this white Penstemon. Whew. Pink. This picture was taken up in the Marble Mountain wilderness. A variety of colors. Okay, there's something about Penstemon that makes it very different from the monkey flowers and the mints. And we can start to see it in this picture. Notice if we look sort of inside of the corolla tube, like you can in just a couple of them down here, like right here. See that thing that I just covered with the green? It's this sort of line. Okay, what if I were to tell you that that's not a style nor stamens? Oh, here's another one right here. Hanging out of that flower. There's one hanging out of this flower right there. Sort of like a tongue, if you will. Just kind of laying there in the bottom of the mouth, if you will, right? Okay, well, it's a staminode. What? We have a sterile stamen just relaxing on the lower lip of this corolla tube. Let's talk about that a little bit more. Well, first let's look at some more examples. This one was also taken down near Las Vegas, and my goodness, look at that staminode. This one is extremely hairy. You can see it kind of hanging out of a bunch of these flowers here. So do you see where the common name comes from now? Beardtongue comes from that staminode. That's sort of in the position of a tongue, and sometimes it's hairy. Very strange name, but that's where it comes from. Okay. I think, yeah, there's another picture here now. In this picture, someone has done a longitudinal section through the corolla, exposing a bunch of really important stuff that we need to talk about right now. So this is how we know that this giant hairy thing is a staminode. It's because, well, we can account for the stamens. They're right here. Also, we can account for the stigma and the style. It's right here, and it's connected to the ovary. That's why folks know that it's for sure the style. And that means that this thing is a separate structure, not stamens, at least not fertile stamens, and not a style. Okay, so let's do a quick floral formula, get that out of the way. Again, since it's bilabiate, it's going to be zygomorphic. We've got 5 sepals. This time they're not fused. Every once in a while they're sort of fused. Not fused like the mints and the monkey flowers, though. We do have the bilabiate, so let's go ahead and do the 2 plus 3 now for the androecium. We do generally have 4 stamens. Now, sometimes people do a floral formula of 2 plus 2 for the fertile stamens because they're sort of held, they're attached in the corolla at different levels, as you can sort of see in this picture a little bit. Well, I drew all over it, but we need to account for that staminode in the androecium part of the floral formula. So let's do it like this, 4 plus 1. If you want to, you could give the 4 a subscript, maybe F for fertile, and the 1 a subscript S for sterile. That would be nice. And then we've got 2 fused carpels of a superior ovary. All right. Now at this point, people, we've been seeing this a lot, especially recently. 5 fused petals. Oh, epipetalous stamens, which reminds me, we need to add that to the floral formula here. Sorry about that. Yeah, epipetalous stamens. We see that in Penstemon as well. Back to the next slide. Epipetalous stamens and 2 fused carpels. What other required taxa have this? Besides Penstemon, which I'm talking about right now. I want you to marinate in this, think about it, and we'll talk about it at the end of this video. And please, please think about it on your own before we talk about it. Oops. All right, here's just another picture of that staminode. It's a really spectacular thing. It's oftentimes really exerted from the corolla tube. And now you might be wondering, well, why have a staminode? What is the point of this thing? Well, not everything in nature has a very clear and obvious function. Now, some folks have done some studies, some pollination studies, and sort of removed, just literally cut out the staminodes of some penstemons and noticed that actually there was less quality of pollination happening in the flowers, or lower quality of pollination happening in these flowers that had the removed staminodes. So there's at least some correlation there. Okay, and here's just a couple of pictures really showing the inside, since we're not in the lab with microscopes together, destroying flowers together. We can look at this really nice picture. It's close enough, right? Okay. Yeah, so there's the 4 stamens, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the 4 fertile stamens. Now, this is the long style, and we know that because it connects to the ovary down here. And then, of course, this part is the staminode. And again, it's resting on the lower lip of the corolla. So in this picture, someone has removed that upper lip of the corolla. And same with this one. This is just showing, again, nice and labeled, another view of a different species of Penstemon. When in doubt, for the Plant Tax final exam, which is in a couple of days, guess capsule for the fruit type. Right? So many of our required taxa have capsules as their fruit type. Add Penstemon to that list. Excuse me. Moving on. Why did I just put a picture of this thing up? We've been talking about Penstemon. Those showy flowers, large, relatively large flowers, obvious, attractive to pollinators. Opposite leaves, kind of woody and shrubby usually. And now I'm showing you a picture of this plant that has a basal rosette, scapose inflorescences of many tiny flowers. This looks absolutely nothing like what I've been talking about the rest of this slide. Do you recognize it? Have you ever seen this thing walking around town maybe? Or maybe you've seen it as a weed kind of in your yard? believe it or not, this is in the same family as Penstemon. Now, this was not known, this was not well known and accepted until genetics, essentially. People used to have Penstemon in this other family, actually with monkey flowers, in this family called Scrophulariaceae, and Plantago was not part of that. But Penstemon, it turns out, based on genetic sequencing, Penstemon is more closely related to Plantago than either one is to monkey flowers, and so they're placed in the same family. So the common name for Plantago is plantain. Okay, now it does have some medicinal properties. Folks have known about that for thousands of years, actually. Here's a picture of one kind of growing right in Trinidad. Similar to the previous picture, we have a basal rosette of leaves. These leaves are very different looking, so same with the inflorescence. It's very different looking, but we can tell from this picture that it's more or less, well, we can sort of tell from this picture, the inflorescence type is a spike, right? If we just kind of look at one of these, what's actually happening is each one of these is an individual tiny, tiny flower, or maybe at this part of the development, fruit. And they're all, you know, attached to this unbranched axis, so that fits the definition of a spike inflorescence. That applies to all species in the genus Plantago. Here's another look at a spike. Another look at some leaves, just variation. There's a pretty decent amount of species in this genus. Again, there's that basal rosette. Now, these spike inflorescences are held way above the basal rosette. You remember the term for that? Scapos? That's a habit term, and that definitely applies here. Here's one that just sort of looked funny. It's actually growing right by my house. Just a different species. I guess they just do this before they sort of become erect, like you can see these ones on the side here. I don't know what's up with that. Here's another one. Now, what is the pollination syndrome? You've got these tiny flowers. They're drab. Not colorful. I'll let you know, they don't have nectar. They don't have any aroma. Yeah, they're not trying to attract anything that's alive. These have wind pollination. You could add these to, say, a list of wind pollination required taxa, if you would like. Besides the scapos spikes and the basal rosettes, another identification feature of this genus is the venation. Now, normally in eudicots, all eudicots, we generally have some sort of netted venation, either pinnate or palmate venation. But here in Plantago, the major veins, they're parallel. So the Plantago is an exception to the classic eudicot venation rule. They have parallel venation. Here's a closer up look at those tiny, tiny flowers. You don't need to know anything about the flowers, besides the fact that they are pollinated by the wind. There they are. Okay, so this is my last slide, actually. So who are those other required taxa? So I had asked, which other required taxa do we have that have 5 fused petals, epipetalous stamens, and 2 fused carpels? So pause here if you have not figured all of those out, and I'll let you know. I guess in terms of required taxa, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 2 genera within those. Okay, so I'm just going to make that list right now. I'm going to list them off. Did you get them? Solanaceae and Solanum, yeah. And Boraginaceae and Phacelia. Lamiaceae, Mimulus, the 2 previous videos that you just watched. Who's the last one? What's this last one? I bet you had a tough time with. Figure it out. Pause it if you haven't figured this out yet. It's Asteraceae. Asteraceae. Well, it turns out all of those taxa that I just mentioned, including Plantaginaceae, so Solanaceae, Boraginaceae, Phrymaceae, so Mimulus, Plantaginaceae and Lamiaceae, and Asteraceae, these are all very close relatives. In fact, they're in a group of eudicots called the asterids. And it turns out that most members of this family have the connate corolla and the epipetalous stamens. So that's pretty cool. Something that would be cool for you to do is to study for the exam is to make lists. For example, make a list of all of the required taxa that have trifoliolate leaves, all of the required taxa that have wind pollination, something like that. and kind of quiz yourself. Now, for the exam that's going to be open in a couple of days, and it's going to be open until Sunday night, I want you to know it's obviously open notes. You're going to have 2 attempts again, and I just want you to kind of be organized and ready. I know you're all capable of doing really, really well on that exam. And I guess the very last thing I want to say is thank you so much for watching these lab videos. This is technically my last lab video that I'm making. I'm going to be making a couple of more lecture videos, but I've been kind of having more fun with the lab ones, and I really have not gotten used to talking to myself. So really seeing the views on YouTube makes me feel much better about making these videos at home. And again, thanks. I really miss you all. Now, normally in Plant Taxonomy at the end of the semester, right after finals, we have a plant tax party at Bittersweet in Arcata. And unfortunately, because of the shelter in place and the quarantine, we can't do that right now. And I want to let you know that I would still love to have a party with you at Bittersweet in the future, whenever that may happen. Maybe it'll be later this summer. If so, I will send you all an email for that exact day and time. And you're welcome to come and bring friends, family, whatever. I'll keep you posted on that. And I'll see you in the next lecture video. Bye.